Well, hello and good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. It's Twyla Jenkins here, the founder and CEO of the I Am That Woman movement and retreat. I hope I get some guests today. It's been a long week. I have actually been in recovery. I got a little cold from being out last week. You guys saw my post. You know what the I Am That Woman movement and retreat is all about. It's all about our health and wellness, and it's about sharing information, resources, and events on how you live your best life holistically, mind, body, and spirit. Well, with that being said, as you guys know, last week I was out, unfortunately, attending to a very dear friend's son's funeral. And I got a little sick from being out at the cemetery. Our weather has been crazy. It was like almost 70 degrees on Saturday, and then it got cold again on Sunday. So I got a little cold, but I hope and pray that I can make it through today's show because it's going to be fabulous without coughing. I sound okay right now. This is the best that I have felt all week. But let me tell you, when I cough, it's something terrible. So I think I'm going to make it through today's show without coughing. And I know you guys out there are praying for me, and it is going to be well. I'm excited. It's Women's History Month. It's time to celebrate women. That's what we do. We celebrate women. And once a year, we take a retreat to get away, to breathe. We are going to reconnect, refocus, and renew ourselves in October. October 26th through the 30th, we're going to be at the Hilton Marco Island for the I Am That Woman retreat, where we have world renowned speakers come and pour into you about how to live your best life holistically, again, mind, body, and spirit. And so that best life is definitely all about learning how to do some best practices. And so today, our show is I'm super excited about our show because this month I thought that we would focus on celebrating Women's History Month, but really focusing on healthcare. And there's a lot of businesses that have started around health and wellness, our mental and emotional wellness since the pandemic, because there's a shortage of licensed clinical psychologists and as well as therapists and counselors, especially in our community. So we've always been praying for our frontline workers. And let me tell you, just like nurses and doctors, therapists and psychologists and counselors are also frontline workers. I'm sure that during this pandemic, they have seen an increase. I know I have reached out to several and sometimes for others, trying to be a resource to connect them to therapists and clinical psychologists. And they're like, I'm booked. I can't, take any more clients. I don't have any space for any new clients. And so we're talking about that today. We have a young lady, Tasha Young, who saw a need and she took a leap of faith. Good afternoon to all those who are joining us. My thing just says Facebook user, so I don't know who it is, but good afternoon. Put your name in the chat so I can shout out to you. But we have Tasha Young today who ventured out, took the leap of faith, and started her own business. And she is a licensed clinical therapist. And we're going to be talking to her today about her business and what she does. So, without further ado, let's bring Tasha on. Hey, Tasha.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing better. I won't say great, but I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing well. I made it to the end of the week, which is a blessing. Every day that God allows me to open my eyes is a blessing.
That is a blessing. And let me tell you, I have been going to, unfortunately, so many funerals as of late, which is how I got this crazy cold. It is a blessing to be alive. It is a blessing to be in service. So, Tasha, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I am I am a licensed clinical professional counselor. I have been in mental health for 20 years, primarily working with adolescents as a school counselor. And during that time, especially working with them, I noticed, especially for our children of color, that there was just generational cycles
Mm, yeah.
and the impact that it was having on the students that I was seeing before me. I wanted to start working with adults and open my own practice. So, a little bit about me. I am the youngest of 10.
Yay!
Grew up on the west side of Chicago, moved to Oak Park. And even in my own family, there was like trauma. I had brothers and sisters that were addicted to um, drugs, to passed away from overdoses.
Oh, no.
Um, my mom was um, a domestic violence survivor. So there was just a lot of stuff going on. And so if I
Yeah.
always had the heart and the passion to work with people that were in crisis or in trouble. And I always tell people one of the things that was my saving grace was that my mama taught me how to follow God.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so being able to see people, how Christ sees people, allows me to show up and do this work because it's very hard.
Hmm. Very good. And so, and I said yay, because as you guys know, I'm number 10 of 11 kids and I'm the baby girl. So when Tasha and I were doing our prep call and she told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, we have something in common. So that was something we connected with. Being from a large
Mhm.
family, I'm from Indiana, you're from here. And so that is a blessing in and of itself. But unfortunately, you have had to experience loss at an early age, losing two siblings to addiction from overdoses, and we know that that's no easy feat, and that is something that you have to come back from because that's traumatic in and of itself.
Yes.
So when did you know that you wanted to start in social work or in psychology, to even understand our mental and emotional state? How young were you when you were like, you know what can I do about this?
Actually, that wasn't even my career path that I wanted. So when I was a junior in high school, there was a guest speaker that came into my law class, and he talked about really working with adolescents because they didn't have a voice. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to go to law school and I want to work with adolescents that have a voice. However, when I got to college, I got pregnant at 17. And so I
Mm,
had to pregnant with twins. So I switched gears. I'm like, I still have this passion for working with adolescents. So I went into education, became an English teacher. And even then, I'm like, okay, there's still so much that's going on here on the west side of Chicago. Our people need more support. And
yeah.
so that's how I transitioned into mental health.
Ah, what a transition into mental
Hmm.
health from being with adolescents. And how long you said you've been working in the mental health industry for 20 years?
For 20 years.
20
Yes.
years. Awesome. Well, congratulations to you for that. But when did you start your own practice?
So when COVID hit, there was just as a school counselor, I was just seeing the anxiety, the depression, the trauma that my students were experiencing.
Mhm,
And in Illinois, there's a lack of therapists, especially Black therapists.
mhm.
So at first, I was intimidated by starting my own business, but the Lord just started opening doors, bringing people into my life
Yeah.
that was showing me the path and how to take it. And I was like, I don't even know, if people even want to see me. My phone hasn't stopped ringing since.
It is a blessing when we take that leap of faith and we just trust God, and literally we once again have something in common, because in 2018 is when I launched the I Am That Woman retreat in Mexico at a beautiful resort there, and it was a leap of faith, and even the movement to help women to live their best life, by giving resources and talking to people like
Hmm.
you, and even entrepreneurs who don't know what to do, and so taking
Yes.
that leap of faith is something, but you saw that there was a need because there are so many one who need therapy and who need
Hmm.
help. Why do you think it's been such a taboo in our community though? I mean, there's a lot who need it, but then as you said, you saw the generational kind of curses when you was first doing adolescent care, and even as a teacher. So why do you think it's so taboo in our community to get help for mental health and wellness?
One of the reasons I think it's taboo in our communities is because even before we set foot on this continent, when we were brought over in slave ships, we were experiencing trauma. So since we've been here, one of the things that we had to do was survive.
Mhm,
Whenever, well, God built into us a mechanism that when we recognize danger, we're either going to fight, freeze,
Mhm.
right, or flee.
Mhm.
Because of the situation and how horrific slavery was, if you could get away, you flee. If you could flee, you could, but fighting meant that you lost your life.
Right.
So for many of us, we had to keep in all of those emotions to be able to survive. So
Mhm.
you could have seen, your children sold, you could have been raped, somebody could have been killed. You had to still keep up and get up and keep going. And
Mhm.
that's one of the things that we started handing down because after slavery, we went right into Jim Crow.
Mhm.
Things are still happening today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. George Floyd wasn't something that
Yes.
happened 60 years ago. George Floyd is a story which to me, even I'll never forget when it was happening. I was sitting out on my front steps and I had to like I didn't know what was going to happen. Like this is when the video literally first came out and I walked into the house because I was like, is he going to kill him? Like, is he going to get up? And
Yes.
before I even knew what happened, I said, that was like a public lynching. I'm like, that was
Yes.
crazy, right? And so to imagine, to your point, the trauma that we have been experiencing since even, like you said, before
Yes.
landing a foot on this continent,
Mhm.
there was trauma. And it's amazing. We did not talk about this in our prep call, but this is exactly what we are addressing this year at the I Am That Woman retreat in October. It's because I think we do need to go back and we do need to do a deep dive into our DNA as African
Yes.
American women. And we need to talk about and address and heal what I call from promise to pain or from pain to promise. So, from that pain that we have endured and suffered, how do we get God's promises to come through?
Yes.
But if we really don't take a deep look at what that pain has been and what it's meant, then how can we heal from it and how do we know what our promises are? So, to your point, a little bit of the taboo has been in a historical perspective of what we've come through. And now the generations, us not addressing it, because I think it's been a bit of a cover up. From a perspective of society in which we don't want to talk about it, and so and then we won't get into the social racism, and we won't get into the
Yes.
social ills of society that has got us to this place of the injustices of our community. But how do we now address those things through therapy and through counseling? And so, since the pandemic, Tasha, have you seen an increase in our emotional and mental wellness in the way that the pandemic even affected us?
Yes. Most of my clients that are coming in, well, all of my clients are coming in, they know now that they don't want to live life like this. Even if they saw mom, dad, aunt, uncle, I want something different.
Mm,
So it's amazing because I have a range. I have my young babies that are like 20, 21, 22, into some of my older adults, which I still consider them young babies because they're old, they're younger than I am, 40 years old, coming in saying, I want to do something different and I don't want to continue to live life this way. This is how I explain to my clients. For me, when I was 16, I learned how to drive. And when I first learned how to drive, I was 10 and 2 on the wheel. I had my music down. I was nervous. Now I can go out and drive and I'm wondering like how did I get here if I'm thinking about something or if I'm talking to someone. I'm just on autopilot.
mhm,
Same thing happens when anything that's stress or trauma that happens to us. We update with that information and then we function on autopilot. And a lot of times we can't even label the emotions and the thoughts that we're feeling to even address what's going on or where the core beliefs come from. So it's really going back with clients and having them recognize the core beliefs that they have and then the maladaptive coping mechanisms that they're engaging in. Yeah.
mm. Wow. And so how has what you're telling your clients and what they do now, how have you seen them change? Like, so they're recognizing, what's wrong, and then what is the process? What's that healing process like?
Painful. It was so funny because one of my clients last night was like, I don't want to go through this. And I
Mm,
was telling her that there's always purpose on the side of the pain
mm-hmm,
for believers.
mm-hmm.
Um, so to be able to go through that, we actually go back through those experiences,
Yeah.
because when we're stuck, I imagine a blender and you're trying to stick an apple, and sometimes it gets stuck and you just can't push it down.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we go back into those memories,
Yeah.
we identify the negative beliefs that they attach to it,
Mm-hmm.
replace it with positive beliefs, and just to be able to process it to get unstuck.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that you won't have that memory, or when you look
Sure.
back at it, that it's
Sure.
not painful,
Sure.
but you're not attaching the negative beliefs about yourself to
Mm.
that memory.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. A lot of times we are attaching negative beliefs of trauma that's happened in our past to ourselves, and we don't let that go. We let that define us, and that's really
Yes.
not who we are, right? And so, but one thing that I've heard you say over and over again, and something that helped you get to where you are, that your mother instilled in you, and that's that spiritual foundation, which I believe, the I Am That Woman movement is not necessarily about a religious foundation, but having and establishing a spiritual foundation. Rather, my higher belief is in Jesus Christ, and, I will profess that until I
Hmm.
die. I'm a PK, and so that's where I find my strength. My strength is in
Yes.
God and believing that He sent His Son, Jesus Christ, to die for me for my sins. And so, but that spiritual foundation that helps us to move past, those past hurts, trains, traumas, and dramas. For someone who may not have that spiritual strength and foundation, what would you encourage them to do?
One of the things that we do is we focus on a variety of areas in their life. We focus on the physical because it's mind, body, and soul. When we experience trauma and stress, we hold it into our bodies, and it
Yes,
comes out in so many different ways. Our
yes.
adrenal glands can't function right, all those things. So we focus on the physical, making sure that they have an exercise routine.
Mm,
We focus on and nutrition, make sure they're feeding their bodies the way that they should.
mhm,
We focus on the social. Nobody can go through life alone. So making sure that they can identify and build up a strong support group
mhm,
um, for their social. We're working on the emotional in session and out of session. But I tell you, even my clients that come in without a spiritual connection, they identify that that's what they need, and they
mm,
start to build upon that.
yeah,
So I've always found that fascinating, that for my clients, oh my God, you brought people here
right.
that
Within
probably didn't
reason.
even think that they needed to find a spiritual path, and they do, because again, it's mind, body, soul.
Yeah.
It's like coffee. Once you put the cream in, you can't undo it.
Right, right, exactly. That's so good. That's a good analogy. And so, creating that spiritual foundation is definitely something that will help to build the house, right? And the house is the
Yes.
mind and the body, because our mental and emotional wellness, I believe your belief system, I think for a whole year, the spirit dealt with me. It's all in what you believe. I would hear that almost every day. It's all in what you believe. And so, we even know the power of the tongue, but you speak that which you think, right?
Yes.
And so
Whatever in
if
the
you
heart is going to
think
come
it,
out.
right? And so what you're thinking about yourself is what you're going to speak about yourself and what you will become, right? That's what your actions will become. And so and yes, someone said that spiritual foundation is what helped our ancestors. That's why we're singing hymns in the cotton fields. It's absolutely right.
Yes.
Right? It's that spiritual foundation that has always gotten us through, right? And so that connection and that spirituality is certainly the foundation to building the house of our mental and emotional wellness. But why, Tasha, do you think that oftentimes, I don't know if you see this with your clients, or even in your studies, looking back on the historical perspective, right, of the traumas that we went through, why does it become cyclical and generational? And how do we break those generational curses that we don't continue to, to act in, to speak of, and to say those things that are destroying us as African American men and women?
Yes, you said it about what we believe is what we speak and what we will become, especially for Black women and even single Black women. We have so many things coming at us at once. I've always found two of the hardest places to exist is academia and corporate America as a Black woman. So many things coming at us at once, so much to focus on. It's hard to sit down in that quiet place to just even focus on what your thoughts. First, you have to know what you are thinking and what you're feeling, because our emotions are just that. They're not fact. But if you don't identify what you're thinking and feeling, you can't even figure out where to go next.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that makes it generational, that I talked earlier about the core beliefs that we have,
Mhm.
and especially the negative core beliefs that we actually attract that in our mates.
Mhm.
And we find, like, why am I stuck in this pattern? So
Mhm.
say if I grew up in a household where there was trauma, it could be domestic violence,
Mhm.
and most people will say, as kids, I am never going to get in a relationship like that.
Right.
And then next thing you know, you be in a relationship where the person may not be physically abusive, but they're emotionally abusive or
Mhm.
verbally abusive.
Mhm.
And so we find that we attract what we believe about ourselves.
Mhm.
Because when we go through that trauma, sometimes we have feelings of abandonment, feelings of mistrust, feelings of failure. And so we start to attract what we believe. So
Mhm.
to be able to go back and first have them slow down so
Mhm.
that we can even figure out what they are thinking and believing and feeling, where they learned that from, and then to go back to dismantle those beliefs. It's
That's
powerful.
good. That is powerful. And actually, that's something that we do at the retreat. It is a 5-day, 4-night retreat where we actually take women through a process to peel what I say, or it's an old saying, not just what I say, to peel the layers of the onion back a little bit.
Yes.
Right. And so I'm
Yes.
sure with your clients in these therapy sessions, sometimes we got to peel back the layers a little bit to find out where it's coming from, because so
Mhm.
many of us are dealing with false beliefs, even in our culture, the false beliefs that we are less than, the false beliefs that we can't accomplish like others can, the false belief that we can't have what others have, so
Yes.
so many false beliefs. And to your point, you said some of the toughest places that you've had to operate is in corporate America as a Black woman, and even as an entrepreneur as a Black woman, right?
Yes.
So but those false beliefs, and how do we dismantle and dispel those false beliefs? It does require work.
It's a
And that's
lot of
what we do
work.
at the retreat. I tell people all the time, if you're not ready to do the work, don't spend your money to come, because this
Right.
is a place of healing. And even these conversation series is to help us to stay on the journey of healing. It's not just a, Friday afternoon, I just want to get online and talk to somebody. It's to help us to stay on the path and the journey of healing, talking to people like you and other experts to help us to deal with our mental and emotional wellness, because it is no joke and it's a daily struggle. Even the word of God tells us to renew our minds daily, because
Yes.
it is a daily struggle to make sure that we are affirming the right things in what we think and what we
Yes.
say, because as the man speaketh, so is he. What's the hardest things that you're having to deal with, in your practice, to help men and women? I'm sure you have clients of both, to help men and women to get over those past traumas and dramas. Like, is it just resources, information. What's that work look like? What is, when someone says, I got to do the work, I want to change, but how do I do it? What do I
Yes.
do? What
Yes.
does that look like?
The hardest thing for a lot of my clients, because they have experienced childhood trauma, for the people that they relied on to take care of them. And
Mm,
it is so difficult because I imagine this for some of them, it's been like 17 years of living like this, whether sexual abuse, verbal abuse, and they start to internalize it's me, I'm not worthy. So to be able to lead them along the path to believe that they are worthy and that they do have a purpose, some days it's great and they get it.
mhm.
And then some days something happens that triggers them that's going to bring up that old belief all over again.
Wow.
So for them, I said, when we first start, I am your hope because you're going to develop your own. I said, so until we start building up that strong foundation, you're going to rely on my hope, because they're like, I don't think it's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. Life is not going to change for me. I'm 32 and it's always been like that. And I'm like, no, you have the power to write
That's
what the
right.
end of your story is going to look like.
That's right. That's right. That is powerful. You have the power to write what the end of your story is going to look like. And what are some of the things that you have them do? Like what is a part of that work? How do they start rewriting their story?
So one of the things that we do is we just go back first, identify those beliefs. They journaling is powerful, and thought logs. So having them put down their thoughts, rate their emotions, and then we step back and ask, is that true? Because a lot of times they're just operating on as the autopilot, where they believe it to be true. Nobody's going to want me. How do you know from this specific incident that that proves that nobody wants you?
Wow.
Let's look at the people that you have in your life, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, you're right. Another thing that we do is I do a type of therapy called eye movement, eye rapid movement desensitization, where it mimics how our brains operate in REM sleep. You know how our eyes go back and forth when we're dreaming, we're processing.
Hmm.
So what I do is I help them build out a memory strand to identify all those points in their lives going all the way back to the earliest. And then we actually mimic what it looks like to be in REM sleep. And it is powerful. It's not a lot of talking, but once that memory start jump starting, we go through and help them experience all of those emotions to process it out. So your dreams become more vivid sometimes, you get more clarity. Like, for example, when a woman has experienced sexual abuse, especially as a young child, they carry that, what could I've done? It's my fault. Something is wrong with me.
Hmm.
And even one client, she was 7 years old. Her dad was physically abusive to her. It was because I talked back. So when we processed that emotion and she was right there, I'm right there with them to keep one foot in the past, one foot in the present. She realized I was 7 years old. And I'm looking up at my dad. This is a grown man. It is no way that could have been my fault. It's impossible. But for years, she carried, it was my fault because I talked back.
Mm, wow.
So it becomes, this work for me is important because it just doesn't free them. It frees the generations that's coming behind them,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because now they're showing up in their communities different.
Right.
They're interacting with their children different. And
Right.
for my young ones, when they have their own families, it's going to be different.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. This is some important work. And that the healthier we are mentally and emotionally and spiritually, of course, the healthier we are spiritually, the better we are mentally and emotionally. But to your point, that's the healthier we are physically and financially. It's all
Yes,
so interconnected,
it
right?
sure
So
is.
as if when we think that we are good in a good place, then we show up. It's like I don't know. It's like, even this week with being sick, and oh my God, did I want to stay in the bed? And did I want to? And I was like, you know what? Let me just get up, take a shower, put some clothes on, put some makeup on,
Yes.
and just push through. And by the time I got in my office, I'm like, okay, I can do this. Drink some tea, take some. Now I'm gonna get my rest, y'all. I know rest is important when
Yes.
you're sick, but it's like what my point is, it's like I had to push through because I'm like, if I just keep saying I am well, I feel better, I'm getting through it, then I'm speaking life into it. And so and
Yes.
and you got to do the work to speak life into it. And to your point, for that person who needs that mental and emotional wellness, not just for themselves, but for the generations to come, right? And so for their
Yes.
siblings, even for some of their older
Mhm.
aunts and uncles and cousins, and when they see a difference in you, perhaps they'll see a difference in themselves. So if
Yes.
they know that you can, then they can as well. Wow, that's powerful. That's really, really good. So, Tasha, tell us, in closing, I just want to make sure that we provide your information. So you've started your own practice, and how has
Yes.
it been?
Oh, first of all, I had to surround myself with people that had been in the business and they knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
I didn't want to go in blind,
yeah,
and I didn't want to take on the business side and just be overwhelmed with as well as trying to help others. So there's been some changes and challenges that I have, but the great thing is that I surrounded myself with other therapists that have been in the business longer than I have, and I've just been sitting at their feet learning.
good, good. And do you have availability? I have your contact information on the screen. If you guys want to contact Tasha at Walk With Me CC, what's the name of your business?
Walk with Me Counseling Center. I'm walking with you through everything. We're going through this journey together.
Yes, or you can
Mhm.
contact her at 708-577-1500. And walking with someone is really helping them to go through the process. And that process, like you said, is going back and maybe peeling back the layers of the
Yes.
onion a little bit on your past, looking at where you are and helping them to get to where they want to be. So there's so many of you out there that we know it's been challenging mentally and emotionally, maybe pre-pandemic, maybe post pandemic. We're kind of still in it. There's some of us that are
Yes.
still going through. This thing is not over for all of us yet, right?
Mhm.
And so if you're still going through and you're having some mental and emotional challenges, listen, it happens to the best of us. I had to go find a grief counselor because I've been dealing with so much death and that stress in and of itself. I told my son,
Yes.
like, this is a stress cold. There is such a thing where your body just gets impacted because I know the loss last week was a lot for me. It was my
Mhm.
23-year-old play nephew, and it was just
Oh,
on my mind
yes.
and in my spirit. And it was just an accident and how he passed away. And so it does take a mental and emotional toll. And so if you need
Mhm.
help, Tasha, what would you encourage our listeners to do?
One of the things is reach out. That's the first thing. Reach out. Reach out, interview a therapist. The most important part of therapy is having a good relationship.
Yeah.
Because no matter how skilled they are, if you don't feel comfortable, you're not going to be vulnerable.
That's right. You got to feel comfortable and vulnerable and open up. Like, don't be
Hmm.
afraid to talk because the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Sure
And when you
does.
are alone, he is destroying your growth, he's destroying your belief system. So, do not allow the enemy to come in and make you think that you're the only one going through this and that you're crazy. So, what encouragement would you give to someone who is afraid to reach out, who's afraid to make a phone call, who's afraid to say anything? What would you tell them to do?
For my clients or people that are afraid to reach out, you don't have to work or walk around with this burden. There's people that are able to help you, especially as if you are a woman of color. One of the great things about it is that we don't have to, we know we have the cultural awareness and competency. It's just a lot of things that are unspoken that we know. But reach out. Reach out. The very first step is just getting on the phone, and talking and seeing if you connect.
Yep. Getting on the phone, call Tasha. Just call her. Just say, hey, I need some help, my sister. We are not here to, this is a safe space. This is what I tell
Yes.
people all the time. Let me see if we have any comments. Somebody says, exactly. You have to talk. You have to talk it out. Exactly. So do not be afraid to open up your mouth. There's an old saying, a closed mouth doesn't get
Yes,
fed,
I
a
say it all the
closed
time.
heart doesn't get healed, right? And so we want to make sure that you know how to get resources and information. You can go to the I Am That Woman retreat.com. We want you to come to the retreat. Registration has opened. So we want people, Tasha, I hope you'll be there. I'm going to
Mhm.
show a video clip October 26th through the 30th. It's all about us taking some time to heal, taking some time to breathe. I have a little saying just on my desk that says, just breathe. That's what I've been having to
Yes.
do this week. Just breathe. I'm getting through this interview without coughing. Thank you, Jesus. And so a Facebook user says, thank you, Tasha. Congratulations on blessings to your ministry. Walk with me. We definitely want to make sure that everyone has your information. Let's see. Kathleen says, how can we remove the stigma of seeking help for mental health in the African American community? Great question, Kathleen.
Um, Really, for me, that's one of my passions too. That's one of the things I'm going to start focusing in is letting people see what it looks like, walking them through what it looks like, normalizing anxiety, depression, and trauma. We just have to look outside and see what's happening in our communities with our young babies. The substance use is high, more so than ever. So, being able to normalize that it is okay to ask for help and that there's healing on the other side.
Yes, it is okay to ask for help. And please either email Tasha, share her information with a friend, share it on your social media. We are here to help. That is what the I Am That Woman movement and retreat is all about. It's here. We are here to help you get the best care in your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, financial wellness, because that is the only way that we are going to be the men and women of God that we need to be, is if we get help. And so we're here today talking about our mental and emotional wellness with our Women's History Month celebratory celebration with Tasha Young, who just started, well, is in business, has been in business. Walk with Me Counseling Center.
Mhm.
Congratulations again,
Thank you.
Tasha. And you still have some availability. You're taking appointments, yes?
I still have availability, and I'm at the point now where I am going to start hiring therapists.
Woo! So it's
Yes.
growing. So
Yes.
it's growing. So, hey, if you are looking for, some place to go and work, if you are a licensed, trained, have the right credentials behind you, and you want to work in the community to help others to heal emotionally and mentally, make sure you get a hold of Tasha. Go and
Please
work
do.
with her.
Yes.
Collaboration is always good. Hey, I had a girlfriend, I do corporate meeting planning. I had a girlfriend who just started her own business. I was like, listen, come help me. I have some work for you to do. It's not
Yes.
about competition, it is about us collaborating and helping each other. So,
Yes.
even if you have your own practice, but you have room to, help Tasha to grow her business and your business can grow, call her at 708-577-1500. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's show. Tasha, if there's any more questions out there, she'll be more than happy to answer
Yes.
them. And so I'm going to do a commercial break with a video. So I'm going to take you off stage. Thank you so much again for
Thank
coming.
you.
I
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
all that you shared. Don't go away. I will be back, but want to take you off.
Mhm.
So, Tasha gave us some great information today about your mental and emotional wellness. I pray that you wrote down her contact information for yourself or to share with someone else. It's so important right now, so important that we reach out if we need help. I needed help. I have been dealing with so much grief, 6 friends dying in 6 months in 2018. This was pre pandemic. And then, of course, we've had and experienced so much loss since the pandemic. So, sometimes we just need to talk to somebody. Sometimes we need some extra help in our life, mentally, emotionally, physically. Thank you, Valerie Tyler, for helping us to be physically fit every morning, getting up Monday through Thursday to exercise our bodies, because that's important as well. But I am going to share with you what we're going to be doing in October, and that is the retreat. You guys, we definitely need to make sure that we are ready to go to the retreat. And here is a promo clip. All right. Well, you guys saw a snippet. It's going to be amazing. October 26th through the 30th at the Hilton Marco Island. Go to iamthatwomanretreat.com and register for more information. You can always contact me, Twyler Jenkins. You guys know how to get a hold of me on social media or my phone number. Give me a call, 312-399-6801. I hope to see you there. Limited registration this year. We're only accepting 100 ladies. We're going to keep it intimate. We're going to be announcing some of our speakers soon. So I hope you ladies are ready to go and register. It only requires a $300 non-refundable deposit. And so again, www.iamthatwomanretreat.com. Hey, you all know I promote it every single week, and it's growing, because you know what? We need to pray and meditate now more than ever. Give me a minute, because I got to open it up, because I had multiple screens today. But the mindful mornings. So Monday morning, make sure that you join us to come and meditate and pray. We need to do it now more than ever. And so you can join us at 5:30 a.m. Monday through Friday for prayer and meditation. Why? Because now more than ever, we need to keep our minds, our hearts, and our spirits just stayed on God. And so I'm going to show you our promotional flyer that talks about praying and meditating, our morning mindfulness, 5:30 to 6:30. It's just a conference call. You don't have to put on makeup and get all cute or anything. 605-313-5104. Again, it's just a call-in number, guys. Keep your mental and emotional wellness intact by starting your day off in prayer and meditation. On Mondays, the wonderful, beautiful, inspiring Dr. Portia Lockett joins us for prayer. And so we meditate from 5:30 to 6, and then from 6 to 6:30, we go into prayer. If you have a prayer request, if you need healing in your body, if there's someone special in your life that needs prayer, join us, add their names to the list. We call them out. It's something that our spiritual foundation and our spiritual wellness is built on. And so call us, make sure that you start your day with morning mindfulness in prayer and meditation, Monday through Friday, 5:30 to 6:30, just a conference call line. It's powerful. We have powerful testimonies about people being healed from cancer and sickness and illness. I know today I am feeling so much better, as I heard one of our this morning, as I heard a special prayer go over me. And so I thank God, and I know that that prayer from our prayer warriors is a part of my healing. So I appreciate that. So hey, Takara, glad that you joined us. So in addition to morning mindfulness, guess what? It's Women's History Month. And so I'm trying to look at my screen and talk to you guys at the same time. So for Women's History Month, we are still celebrating. Yes, we are. And we are celebrating this Sunday, not this Sunday, Sunday the 27th. You guys see me multitasking, right? So Sunday, March the 27th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., we are going to be hosting live and in person a brunch at the VU rooftop. And we are so excited to be doing that. We are going to be selling tickets on Eventbrite. They're only $60. Come on out, join us, have a really good time, making sure that we are celebrating. Guys, I'm trying to find it. I'm sorry, I might not find it, but it's going to be on all of our social media. Come on out, March 27th. Go to our social media and you'll be able to find it. It's on Eventbrite, March 27th. I'm gonna put it in the chat as well. We're having a brunch at the VU rooftop. So we have a sponsor, Kirk Gregory. Thank you so much for sponsoring us, Kirk. He's going to be there talking about some insurance and some things that you can do. So March 27th, 11 to 3, $60. Buy your tickets. It includes a full brunch. And then you can even add, when you get there, the bottomless mimosas or Bloody Mary bars. So you can add that on. But chicken and waffles and potatoes and scrambled eggs and all that good stuff. You guys come on out March 27th from 11 to 3 at the VU rooftop right on Cermak. It's going to be a wonderful time. We need to come out. We are supporting our domestic violence partner, Family Rescue. Bring your favorite hair care product. When I talked to Katie over at Family Rescue, she said the majority of their clients are African American women. It is a domestic violence shelter. And she said most of the time when they come in, they don't have proper hair care products. So we know we have, protective hair care styles like me right now with my braids and other things. So bring your favorite hair care product and drop it off to help a woman in need. I think that's all of my announcements. Sorry, I couldn't show the flyer. My technology is acting up. But if there's any questions, you can reach out to me on social media. 312-399-6801 is my number. I missed some of you guys today. Shy, I don't know where you was at. Tyree, Valerie, Lester, some of our crew from thank you, Kathleen, for joining. Takara, hey, how are you? I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I think I only coughed one time. Keep me in your prayers. I pray that you have a blessed weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. All right. Bye bye. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.